Hello guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. In this video I'll be talking about how I became an international artist without leaving Nigeria. If you haven't yet subscribed, don't forget to do that. Please like, share, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell. For those who don't know, I'm academically an engineer. I graduated as an engineering major in 2012. I graduated from the University of Benin. I studied electrical electronics engineering. But then I've always had this love and passion for drawing. Even while I was a student in university, I remember those days having to do like commission drawings. I would do portrait drawings for people. They give me their pictures and then I do portrait drawings for them and they pay me, and that's how I was like getting some little pay as a student and managing myself in university. I've been drawing since I've been a kid, maybe like 8 years old or something, like maybe between 5 and 8 years old. I've been drawing, but not really professionally. I started doing like professional work where I got paid from like 2005 or something like that. And I kind of nurtured that as a portrait artist until I met someone in school who put me through. A friend of mine, we're still friends to today. He studied engineering as well. His name is Cyril Kodu, and he helped me out with finding my way around becoming an artist that can draw from my imagination. And that's how my journey started as a illustrator slash comic book artist and stuff. So in 2012 I started a comic company called Scroll Comics, and that's how I was doing comics, telling stories with comics and all. That was my first foray into doing like illustration and something close to animation, which is comics. And then in 2014 I got my first gig where a corporate organization paid me what I considered decent money at the time. It was 20,000 naira in 2014. 20,000 naira is somewhere around $130 or something like that. And it felt like, a big deal. I was so excited. I was happy. And it was like a big breakthrough, finally all these years of pushing and trying to be a good artist finally gets to pay off because someone is paying me money for it. And I was really fulfilled at the time, even though looking back at it, the money wasn't so much, but I'm excited that that opportunity came because that's, kind of set the pace for how, my journey as a career artist began. So in 2020, after allowing the idea really marinate in my head, I was passionate about telling a story, like directing my own film, my own short film. And that was a period where, there were successes in the Academy Award territory where people like Matthew Cherry had won an Academy Award for Hair Love, the short film Hair Love. And Kobe Bryant had won, I think in 2017 or thereabout, for his short film Dear Basketball, rest his soul. And these were the people that really motivated me to, want to tell my own story. While I was nursing that dream, I also had, side gigs. I was working at the time. In 2020, I had this idea of exploring black faces, and, it actually coincided with the whole George Floyd thing because, George Floyd's death, really brought to the fore the need for us to respect, our voice as black people. So that was a retrospective period for me because it allowed me to reflect inwards and to double down on my resolve to be able to tell and portray Africans in positive light. There was really little or no cultural representation at the time, black representation. So I just kept, whenever I went to ArtStation and DeviantArt and all these different platforms, I would see mostly white characters. And whenever I saw black characters, they were not properly, represented because I grew up in Nigeria. I live in Nigeria. I've lived in Nigeria all my life. So seeing the people I see every day are black folks, and I just felt like there wasn't really that proper representation. So I took it upon myself to study black faces. And so I went on this very long and difficult uncharted territory where I was I think I was probably the only person doing stuff as crazy as that at the time. I would design characters wearing, tying gele, tying the African, wearing the African attire and stuff like that. And to some extent, I did get some success to it because some of these posts went, I won't say viral, but they were quite popular at the time. It got a lot of traction on LinkedIn. I had this particular post on LinkedIn that had some traction. And so I was just like churning out this stuff and just studying black characters, black faces, drawing mostly, people, black women, black men, boys, girls. I was just doing this stuff like steady, and just putting this stuff out. And then I believe in the process of that, I got some attention. The first international studio with acclaim that actually reached out to me was Disney. And I remember seeing that Disney email for the first time. I was like really, really excited because I had no idea that what I was doing could get, people like Disney to notice me. And the first time I saw this email, I showed it to my wife and she was like, yo, this is crazy, And it's almost like the Disney attention opened like this floodgates of different studios just reaching out to me at this, like, within a very short period of time. I had Marvel reach out to me, I had Netflix, I had DreamWorks, Nickelodeon, Skydance, like all these different companies just reaching out to me within the space of like a year or so, 8 months to a year or something like that. And it was just like quite overwhelming, but I was also happy at at the same time because this was like my breakthrough moment. I was really excited about this, and I took the best advantage of these opportunities and worked with the ones that I could. Some of them didn't really quite pull through, but the ones that did, I ended up working with them, and it was a great experience. So I actually wanted to leave the country at some point. In 2021, I was actively looking to leave the country, but then again, my wife was pregnant, and she put to bed in October 2021. So after having put to bed, we tried to leave the country while she was pregnant, but it didn't really quite pull through. But then after putting to bed, it was like, you know what, we might just have to stay, for some time and make sure that the road, to the pathway to becoming an immigrant in the United States was clear enough for us to follow that path. So it wasn't quite clear at the time. So I just said, you know what, let's keep this thing aside and just focus. And looking back at it, I have no regrets because it was a blessing in disguise, considering the fact that the cost of living in Nigeria is significantly low compared to the US. So I was thinking, if I can get the same pay that people in the United States are getting while living here in Nigeria, considering that the cost of living is significantly lower, then what's the point of living? So I just said, we just agreed, me and my wife agreed, okay, let's stay behind. And it wasn't a bad decision at the end of the day. So my advice for artists out there is this, and you may not like to hear this, but you have to keep showing up. Whether it means applying for jobs regularly or, just being active on social media so that people see you, because the recruiters and the people responsible for, talent management, they would find you online. I got discovered, to be able to work for these studios because I showed up, because they saw me online, they saw my work, so you have to keep showing up, show up in people's faces. So one advice I would give is find people in talent acquisition. Find talent acquisition people, recruiters, and follow these people, especially on LinkedIn. Follow them or connect with them, and don't send like weird DMs to anybody. You don't need to do that. Just show up. Keep showing up in their timeline. Keep putting out stuff in their timeline. I know these days, the algorithm is not as it was before, so it may not be so easy to show up at the top of people's homepage feed, but you just have to keep showing up and doing the work. And the more you show up on their feed, the more they notice you. And when they notice you, whenever job openings come, they think about, oh, that guy I saw, let me reach out to him. Because the Marvel job, the person that the line producer of the project I worked on at Marvel Animation, she actually reached out to me via LinkedIn, because I've gotten a lot of gigs and established a lot of relationships with people via LinkedIn. So I know how powerful LinkedIn is. LinkedIn might just be what is between you and your next $100,000 per year job. So if you want to be noticed and seen, you have to show up on social media, not just Instagram or ArtStation. Show up on LinkedIn and follow the right people so that you show up and you pop up in their homepage feed. Another advice I would give is to improve. Be hungry for improvement. People will see your journey. If you look at my social media feed, for example, my Instagram, for example, the very first set of drawings and illustrations I posted on there, they look terrible compared to where I am today. But guess what? I didn't go and delete all those images because it's good for people who really want to see your progress and your growth, the progression of your growth. They can go back and look at the crappy work you did a couple of years ago, and then scrolling through to see how you progress over time. Improvement is extremely important also because you have portfolios. Your portfolio is a reflection of your skill level at the time. So you have to keep updating and improving your portfolio, improving your work, practice regularly, and don't even try to get the best possible work out there on social media. You can even post your practice work. You can post your practice sketches. You can post all these things. People notice it. It's not every time that your post has to be polished. You can have sketches in your posts, and people would appreciate that because we artists, I mean, a talent acquisition person and somebody who really knows how to hire artists, they will not look at the polished work only. They will look at your sketches, your rough sketches as well, your line work. They will look at the quality of your lines. They will look at how dynamic your lines are, your thought process, your rough sketches and all of that. So don't be afraid to put rough sketches, figure drawings and stuff like that on your social media, and I hope this will help. So this is how I became an international artist and still am, based locally in Lagos, Nigeria. If you have any questions, you can type them in the comment section. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and I'll see you in the next video.